Hi friends, we are bleeding the brakes. These are the SLX M7000. If your brake lever feels loose or not very stiff, that means you need to bleed your brakes. I'm gonna show you which parts you definitely need. There are some gloves here inside. This is like complete bleeding kit. You need the mineral oil for Shimano. This is the mineral oil. You need the oil funnel and the syringe, and there are some instructions that come with most of the kits, and those little pipes. This is the original bleed kit from Shimano. So mineral oil was there, the manual, the oil funnel, and also the syringe with, as you can see, the pipe, the tube there. And these little parts you would need if you wanted to change the length of your hose. Now the positioning of the bike. Just imagine what will be happening to the bubbles. It's okay for the front brake. For the rear brake, you can see this part here, the bubbles won't be able to go up because there is some place where they would go down. So this is the position on my bike for the rear brake bleeding. We are operating oil both sides, so that would be maybe also okay, but that position was good. These are the pads, and this is the mistake number one. This is not a bleeding block. This is a bleeding block. Okay. This one is only for securing for transportation. You put it between the pads, and this one you put into the brake when the pads are being removed. I'm going to show you everything because it can also be tricky when your pads are worn pretty much, which is the case of this bike, 2000 kilometers. Here there is a little safety clip. Remove that one, and then use the Allen key in order to remove the pads. You don't have to remove the pads, but if you're not very good in servicing, in doing this stuff, you can put some oil. You can just spill oil to the pads, and then the pads should be just thrown away for the for being recycled. So as you can see, these are worn. Still okay to ride, but these are worn, which means that the pistons have adjusted to the very thin pads. And that means I cannot put my bleeding block inside. I would have to push those pistons aside. It could be, this is a special tool for that, but this would be not very good if the pads, the braking pads, are not there. So you can put the pads back there, but my tip here is don't push those all the way and don't use a bleeding block. Use just one credit card is okay. Just cut it into pieces and put it between those, because when I'm pushing now those pistons all the way back, and then after the bleeding I'm gonna use those pads which are quite worn. That means my braking lever will go far when I try to brake, and then I would need to pump a little bit in order for it to get hard. This is the bleeding block inside. You can also use a piece of, as you can see, some box, but then you're not gonna be able to push the braking lever during the bleeding operation, which is maybe not 100% a must here. Now we are putting the braking lever into the horizontal position, so I needed to readjust also the lever for my dropper post, and now just fasten the brake lever so that it will just be in place. It will stay in place while you're doing the bleeding. This is not very difficult. This is the bleeding screw, so remove that one. And after removing that one, we have the access to the system. We are now opening the hydraulic system. there's a little o-ring. Make sure it's not on the screw, it stays in the brake. This is our oil funnel, which has that little hole there for the oil, and you're gonna attach this one. Make sure you push it down while assembling. This is plastic thread, so don't use a lot of force. You don't need, just feel resistance, it stopped, okay. And this is the little stick for closing the hole in the oil funnel. We're gonna use it just for removing the oil funnel at the very end. This is how it looks like. Okay, so now we're gonna take the syringe, and this pipe is a little bit too long. I'm gonna tell you why you don't want to use too long pipe. I'm using the shorter one here because this bleeding kit also fits two different systems from Shimano. That's okay. And now the mineral oil. We need to take in about 18 up to 20 milliliters of the oil. Don't take the whole syringe because you're gonna need some place in the syringe still for removing the air. So don't just pull it all the way down. This is little cap, little rubber cap for the bleeding hole, we can say. This is it. As you can see, it's broken because it should stay there on this little piece of rubber. Somehow I broke it, so this one will be just thrown away. And now we need a little spanner, 7 millimeters here. You can use this side, but this one with the eye there at the end is more handy because it will stay there in place. Now we are attaching, now we need to, you see, I'm pulling first in order to take all the oil into the syringe, and now we're gonna push the air away. This is why you don't want to have too long pipe, because you wouldn't be able to take all the oil. You would spill all the oil. So this is done now, but I'm just showing you now that if you just push a little bit too far, it can kind of spit with the oil, so use some rack for this job. Now attach the syringe, its little pipe, to the bleeding port there. This will be fairly easy job. You just need to follow me. And now we open the port by 1/8 of a turn. Now you can see in the right bottom corner, I'm pushing the oil to the oil funnel, and there are bubbles coming out. There are not many, but they are there. The brakes, both brakes were fine, were completely fine. Don't push it all the way. That would be mistake also, because you might push some air into the system. You want to operate only with the oil now. So now I'm pulling it back. Some instructions will tell you now to use some plastic bag and let the oil just drop down. I'm just pushing it and then pulling it, pushing it and then pulling it, tapping the system with some tool, and then when the bubbles no longer come out, it's done. So this is that simple. Mistake number something, I don't know, 3 here, would be to push it like that, because the bubbles, you want to keep the bubbles here in the syringe. You don't want to push those back into the system. So bubbles up, always up. And now when I'm pushing, and nothing goes into the system. You can see now the bubbles coming into the syringe. We want to trap the bubbles there and keep those. This shows that your brakes needed some bleeding, and this is how it looks like when you push the oil to the system. No bubbles anymore. That means we are done. So tapping is always good, because there might be some bubbles trapped in the caliper brake or in the braking lever. So just tap it. No one will tell you how many times you need to push and pull. I do it maybe 3 or 4 times. It's very simple. Now I'm closing that screw, and then hold the brake lever if you have a proper bleeding block, and now open and close, open and close while holding the braking lever. This is the step I would personally not do because it never needed to be done. Maybe on some other models of the brakes you would need to push it away from the braking lever. Doing just this, pushing and pulling, works great for me. Guys, let me know, what do you think, what do you do? Now I'm closing it, removing my syringe, and the job is done. The job is done. This is the cap, it goes back even though the other part is broken, and now I'm closing the oil funnel so that no oil will drop, and that's it. Do it gently. Remember, this is a plastic thread, you don't want to damage it. Make sure the o-ring is there in the brake, and now push nicely down, push it down the little bolt, and it's basically done. Not too much force, just feel it. It will give you some nice resistance when you feel it. Just do it a little bit more, and then it's fine. Degreaser, it's good to degrease everything. You don't want to have messy cockpit or messy caliper. You just want to have everything clean. Okay, so what happened here? Because I pushed away those pistons, now when I started to brake with the wheel, I felt that my lever felt deep down. So instead of this bleeding block, using maybe 3 credit cards, like 1 cut into pieces or 4 maybe, would be better, because now those pistons have to go back a lot to the position of where they were before, because those pads are not new. So putting the new pads here would be ideal. Okay, this is how you secure those, and it is fairly easy job. You want to have your brakes firm. Some manuals, even from Shimano, will tell you not to remove the wheel and the braking pads, so that's easier then. But in that case, make sure you do not contaminate the braking pads, because otherwise you would have to have those just recycled, I mean thrown away. This is it. If you've got any questions, put those just below. Thanks for watching, guys. This was Supreme Biker. Bye bye.